Hi, class. Come and sit with me here on the floor. You guys just did a great job. As you came in the door, I handed you a word card. Slow or maybe fast. And your job was to figure out who you might match with to come up with opposites. So slow and fast are words that are opposites, and you guys are probably sitting together today. So we've been working on these words that some of them are very easy, some are more challenging. This is the card that I had today. Selfish. Who had my match? Selfish is when you want everything for yourself. But the other word is when somebody's willing to share things with you. Anybody have a guess what that is? Oh, Brian, I heard you say something. Unselfish. Un means not. So unselfish could be the opposite of my word. But look what Sally had. She had generous. Generous is the same as being unselfish. It's when you give things away instead of keeping everything for yourself. So today we're going to look at a few more opposites, but just like Brian told us about un, we're going to be looking for some prefixes. They're word beginnings that change things. They make it the opposite or not what it was before. Let me remind you, yesterday we had read a book. Anybody remember what that book was called? You're right. Miss Daisy was here. She visited us, and she read it in Spanish. Ooh, you know, my Spanish is not the best. Caperucita Rojo. It was the girl in the red cape, right? And we call her Little Red Riding Hood. Most of you knew this story. You knew a lot about these characters, but it was good for us to remember. It was fun to hear it in Spanish. Today I'm going to read it in English. Now your job is to listen to things that describe the characters. Because just like our words that can be opposites, sometimes one character might be fast while the other character is slow. One character in a story might be selfish and another character in the story might be generous. So today when we use our words, we're going to not only use the prefix un and dis, but we're going to also be using those words to describe our characters in the story. There once was a girl who always wore a red hood. Her name was Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother asked her to bring honey to her sick grandmother. She met a wolf on the way to her grandmother's house. "Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?" the wolf asked in a sweet voice. "I'm going to grandmother's house. I can't talk to you now. I'm in a hurry," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Take this road. It's shorter. You'll get there sooner," said the wolf. He wasn't telling the truth. The wolf took a shortcut all the way to grandmother's house. He locked the grandmother in the closet. He got into her bed. Little Red Riding Hood got to her grandmother's house. Her grandmother looked very different. "I'm sick, my dear," said the wolf. He tried to sound like her grandmother. "Grandma, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to see you with." "Grandma, what big ears you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to hear you with," said the wolf, and he moved closer to the girl. "Grandma, what a big mouth you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. Now she was very scared. "The better to eat you with," said the wolf, and he jumped toward Little Red Riding Hood. Now there were hunters outside, and they heard Little Red Riding Hood's cries. They rushed into the house and scared the wolf. The wolf ran away with his tail between his legs. So lots of times when we hear a story, it helps remind us. And you know that sometimes we reread because it's helping us remember more about our characters along the way. I'm going to ask you guys to read. You've heard the words once in the Spanish story. You just heard me read the story in English. Let's see if we can come up with parts of the story together. you're going to notice that things that are in black are the wolf talking. Things that are in red are Little Red Riding Hood talking. And things that are in blue could be grandmother talking. But look what we have here, underlined in black. Who was pretending to be grandmother? Pilar. You are right. The wolf was pretending to be grandmother, so I underlined it in black because he's really the one who's talking. So, boys and girls, will you read this with me? Ooh. Where are you going, Red Riding Hood? How about this one? I'm going to grandmother's. Oh, what else did she say? I can't talk now. I'm in a hurry. Nice job. And sometimes, you know what, we get stuck on a word, and it's okay. If you're not sure what it is, you can always pause and listen, because we're going to read it again, and the next time we're all going to know what those words might be. Take this road. It's shorter. You will get there sooner. Who said that? You're right, the wolf. I'm sick, my dear. What do they go on to say? Remember, red riding is Red Riding Hood. Black riding is the wolf. Grandma, what big ears you have. The better to hear you with. Grandma, what big eyes you have. The better to see you with. Grandma, what a big mouth you have. What is it? How does it go, you guys? The better to eat you with. Nice reading. Excellent. I'm going to put them up one more time, and I'm going to listen to you all read for me. Nice job. Red Riding Hood. I like it. I'm in a hurry. You're right. You will get there sooner. Nice reading. And what did the grandmother say? I am sick, my dear. And then Red Riding Hood stops to talk to them. Read it to me again. Yeah, follow along. Excellent. And the wolf says, nice reading. And the wolf answers her. Finally. Ooh, it's getting erased. What did it say? You have, and finish it, a batter to eat you with. Nice reading, you guys. Very good. So today, we are going to look at our cards, and they have some different words than yesterday. And I told you that we were going to take a look at something called prefixes. So the prefix un means not, or the opposite of something. Can anybody think of a word that starts with the sound un? It's a short U, it's an N. Say it with me. Un. Very nice. What words start that way? Brian, say it again. Untie. What will you untie? Oh, you're right. You could untie your shoe. Very nice. What other words can you think of that start with un? Nellie, what are you thinking about? Say it with me. Ooh, undo. What will you undo? You will undo a mistake. You could do that. You might undo a knot. That's kind of like untying, isn't it? We have two things that start with un. Excellent. So the other prefix that we have this week is dis. Dis is similar to un. They're kind of the same. And when we talk about dis, sometimes it means away or apart from something. Sometimes it means not. Like if I told you, I dislike spinach, then that means I do not like spinach. So we can have the word dislike as one of our prefixes that we're looking for. They're going to change the words that we put them in front of, and they're going to help us figure out when something is not the same as it had been. Now I'm really wondering, back to our story, who were our characters? You're right, Red Riding Hood, Grandma, the wolf, and who were those guys that came in at the end? They're kind of like the heroes. The hunters. The hunters saved her, didn't they? So, thinking about that, Pick a character for me. Somebody was afraid when the wolf attacked. Who was that? Oh, you're right. We could say Red Riding Hood was afraid when the wolf attacked. But what if I show you someone else? Who are these men? The hunters. The hunters, ooh, we'd have to change this, wouldn't we? Because there's more than one. The hunters were unafraid when the wolf attacked. They weren't scared of the wolf, were they? So changes things and makes it different. Tell me, who is the character that was sick so that Red Riding Hood was taking her honey? Jose, you're right. Grandmother was sick, so Red Riding Hood was taking her honey. Can you say unsick? Can you say dis-sick? Those don't work, do they? I have a word for you today, though. Let me see if I can find it. Grandma was feeling unhealthy. She stayed in bed. Sometimes we might use that word. Sometimes it might not work. Who is its opposite? Unhealthy, healthy. We can use both those words. Who's our last character? Somebody thought that grandmother looked funny. I don't mean funny, ha, ha, ha. I mean, she looked different. Grandmother, is that you? You look so different today. So who is it that thought grandmother looked different? Let's see if we can find that part of the story. Red Riding Hood thought grandmother looked different. She looked funny. And finally, the blank was unsafe to be around. Who is not safe? Who is unsafe to be around? The wolf was unsafe to be around. Nice job, you guys. We've had a chance to think about our characters, to talk about them a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this one. And I'm going to get rid of this one. And I'm going to give you and your partner, the person you matched your opposite cards with earlier, a job. And the job is this, to come up with some words to describe our characters. Now you're going to find that on the back table. There are lots of cards of words that are opposites. Nice or unkind. Happy or discontent. Content means you are happy. If you are discontent, you are not happy. Or look at what we can also use. Unhappy and happy. So the cards are laying at the back table, and you and your group are going to go back, and you're going to see if you can work together to complete these sentences. Grandmother was unhealthy. The wolf was, what are you going to call him? He's not nice, is he? Red Riding Hood was something. Maybe she was brave. The hunters were smart. They knew to help. But then you have to take it one more step. Tell me why, right? When we describe characters, we want to use our words, but we also want to explain. So, grandmother was unhealthy because she had caught a cold. The wolf was unkind because he played a trick on Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood was, I don't know what you'll say about her, because why? What did she do in the story? So you and your partner are going to work together. We're going to ask you to come back in about 10 minutes and share all the sentences that you have written down with all these good ideas. Can you come up with more than one word? Certainly. If you do a grandmother sentence and then you have a second idea, write another grandmother sentence and then bring them back to the group to share.